My name is Lee Boyle, and I'm a small-town Ohio resident. Go to thirdclass.net and hear my music, buy my band Third Class's colorful vinyl, watch our tour docs. Go to bullskit.com, see my friends and I in hilarious comedy skits with off-the-wall humor. On both sites, catch up on every single mother-loving episode of Nursery. Nursery is about demeanor, mood, atmosphere, and off-the-cuff talk. Therefore, in the spirit of spontaneity, Nursery will always remain sloppy, homemade, and candid. We're building a small scene in Ohio, and we hope you'll join us. Whether you're from here or not, we are happy to have you listen. Nursery is sponsored by the Orange Avocado, raw, vegan, gluten-free desserts. Check them out on Facebook. And the Speaking of Music Show, an audio editorial program that dives deep behind the curtain, taking on questions about the new music of today while rewinding back to yesteryear. Check them out on YouTube. We have a new sponsor this episode, Timeless Shots, a photography company based out of, you guessed it, Ohio. Check out what they do at timelessshots.com. Timeless Shots Photography, capturing moments for all occasions. Again, that's timelessshots.com. My band just finished a shoot with them today. They're excellent at what they do, at getting the right angles and getting the right moods out of three initially grumpy guys in the morning. We need sponsors to fund our tours, comedic endeavors, and podcast promotion. So if you have a local organization or business and you're interested in sponsoring an episode of Nursery, email me at cloegrave@gmail.com. CHLOEGRAVE@gmail.com. It's cheap, easy, and great promotion to a great demographic. Nursery is not appropriate for people who are under the age of 18. Special shout out to my two favorite podcasts at the moment. Things I Thought About Today by the talented Dave Little and Zoe Nightingale's self-titled podcast. Both I highly recommend if you're looking for new podcasts to explore. Thanks for listening.
It's cold in this neck of Ohio tonight, and the style is right for a sad winter song. I feel lost like a speck in a pile out of sight. And though I try with all might, I just don't feel that strong. As we walk through a field trekking on snowy dirt, my eyes start to hurt trying to see a smile. And we talk about fears making our story short. You are scared to get shot, your bravery goes through miles. And there's more miles to go as we walk the train tracks. I think we lost the way back in the woods we just hiked. And the store signs can glow as you walk sidewalk cracks.
All of the ones that I saw were like on like the western sky, and they were like nice, long.
So guys, would you like to do a podcast?
You always gotta make it into something, don't you? You can't just hang out.
I don't know. You need Jeremy's permission.
Hey Mom, we're making a podcast.
They gotta like sign waivers.
Okay, so
Jeremy and Otto.
Guys, welcome to Nursery, a podcast from Ohio's creative voice. Me, I'm Lee Boyle.
Peg O'Malley, otherwise known as Craig Bate.
Ellen.
We're back here in the backyard with Otto the dog and Jeremy the little pug dog. And why I want to do this, and this doesn't have to be long, is I'd like to do a whole podcast on the Berenstein Berenstain thing, because I think it'd be really interesting.
What is this? What is? Do a refresher for anyone that doesn't know what the hell you're talking about.
First, no refresher. What do you remember it was? Like, how do you remember the spelling was on the books when you were little?
No, refresher. People are listening to this. We need to explain it before we go into this.
I just want to. I want to ask him before he hears that.
He knows it.
No. I'm familiar.
He's asking me to clarify to people.
Oh.
Yeah.
You ever heard of that?
I'm trying to act as like a co-host.
Yeah.
Sorry, we know what we're doing. Follow our lead.
Yeah.
You'll be okay.
So guys, anyone listening,
How much am I getting paid for this?
Anyone listening, this is not a very widespread thing, but let me give you the rundown. There's a children's book series started in the 1960s by a couple named Stan and Jan. It was called Berenstein Bears. We say Berenstein Bears. People say Berenstain Bears. I've heard people say Berenstein Bears. It's a weird thing. People just say it weird. But regardless, you know who I'm talking about. There's a mama, a papa, some kids. And what we found is this two kids, brother and sister bear.
And there's new babies.
Mama bear, papa bear.
Okay.
A series that has run a long time and kind of stood the test of time as a classic in a lot of people's eyes. So what we've come upon is this weird phenomenon. Go on the internet, read about it. What has happened is there's been this weird divide in a lot of humanity where a lot of people remember this spelled Berenstein Bears, Berenstein. And the fact stands that it's spelled Berenstain Bears, Berenstein. And a lot of us have this memory that we can't shake, and it's bothering us, of the E. And you look at old books that were published in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they have the A. And it's not about an argument about which is right. That's useless. It's an argument as to why that memory exists. So, Craig, answer Ellen's question. What do you think? What is it, an E or an A?
So, my experience with this whole thing is no experience, really, because I always thought of it and knew of it as an A.
Which is totally normal.
Because he lived in a parallel universe from us.
Yeah, that's the thing. Listeners, if you go online and check this out, there are theories that talk about parallel universes. A lot of them tell you to go check out something called the Mandela effect, which is a theory about people thinking that Nelson Mandela, or Mandela, however you want to say it, died in the 80s in prison. And it's this widespread memory of something that never happened. He died in 2013. So people draw a line from the Mandela effect to the Berenstein Bears thing because it's this widespread memory phenomenon that apparently never happened. So, Ellen, why don't you tell me about what your mom said today?
Well, I talked to my mom about it, and I first just asked her how she remembered it was spelled, and she spelled it EIN. And she was just like, obviously, like, I don't even know, like, what you're talking about. And we had, like, between me and my aunt and, like, my cousins, we had, like, all of the books ever. And we even went to Berenstein Bear World at, I'm pretty sure it was at Cedar Point.
Mm-hmm. And you have this really vivid memory of an E.
Yes, but she was just like, yeah, it was definitely E. And then, like, I told her about the parallel universes, and she was like, well, yeah, I believe in parallel universes.
Ellen's mom completely satisfied me and Ellen because we want there to be a parallel universe where there was an E or an A. So if I'm making it clear to you, Craig, the theory is, and this is weird, but the theory is, and this is lots of philosophy applied to science, obviously.
Right.
But the theory is this. People, with their hypotheticals, we look at that as common sense, right? If somebody said, if only I had done this, then this would be true, right? When people run scenarios in their head,
okay,
like,
if I would have made this decision, then this would have.
If I would have done A, then B would be true. Some people that theorize in science look at that as a power that we have. That the reason that we have this vividness to say, if only I had made the shot, my team would have won the game. That the reason that exists isn't just because, we have a powerful imagination. Our powerful imagination is thanks to a consciousness of a parallel universe where that really happened. So people...
There's a specific term for that, too. I forget.
Multiverse.
Yeah, but that's
counterfactuality.
I don't know.
Counterfactual thinking is what I've heard it called, but you're probably thinking of. There's 100 other things.
Yeah, right.
But
yeah. I'm following.
So Ellen and I know it's stupid, but we want so badly, not because we want to justify and be right, but because our memory is so strong, we want that to be true. We want Like,
And I, like, otherwise, I asked people at work, like, what they thought in, like, a big group of nurses. And, like, everyone, like young 20s to, like, early 30s was like, oh, it's definitely EIN. Like, no question. And then all the people that have little kids right now are like, it is AIN. And
Right,
I
they've
was just
seen
like, what is wrong with you people? And, like, before any of this happened, I had a conversation with my oldest sister, Colleen, because I was reading my niece's one, and I was like, why is this AIN?
yeah,
And
on
she
your
was
own,
just
you
like,
noticed
yeah,
that.
and she was just like, no, that's how it's spelled, like, before any of this stuff came on the internet. And I was just like, okay, I must be wrong, because Colleen's always right, and I'm wrong. So I was just like, all right.
Yeah. But then you find out there's these thousands of people that all have this vivid memory, and then it turns into something else than somebody being like, oh, I always say Reese cups, it's Reese's, or I always said Brendan Fraser when it was Frazier. It turns into something powerful and weird, and then it doesn't become about
Like
E or an A.
Reese's Pieces don't have peanut butter. Or they do have peanut butter? I can't remember.
Yeah, they have peanut butter.
Jack and Nicole argued about this in a tree at our
Did
old house.
Really?
Wait, there was an argument about whether or not Reese's had peanut butter? You can taste the peanut butter. I mean,
Well, let's not get off on that tangent.
okay,
Let's
okay,
just
all right, yeah, one philosophical
in a
debate at a time. I'm sorry,
Parallel
I'm sorry.
universe.
in a parallel universe, Reese's never had peanut butter.
Oh
Sorry.
my God!
No, but there was something unique about this particular phenomenon, because all these people had this vivid memory of the visual of E, and
Right.
and yeah, I'm open to everything, and I'm open to the idea that, like, we want it to be steam. That's why we remember it that way. We just want it so bad because Berenstain isn't really a normal name.
Bring it
No,
back.
and I would say
Like,
if you
Stain
think about
isn't.
and if you think about most of those kind of Germanic sounding names, that they aren't going to end something with that sort of spelling at the beginning, Baron, whatever.
Yeah.
It sounds better. It looks better too in their minds, because it would be all E's, right, instead of
Yeah.
this A that's sticking out.
And I'm willing to accept that Ellen and I just have
But
this powerful imagination. But
And my theory, it's not a theory, but my thoughts on this whole thing goes into the whole idea of the power of our minds, and actually how I even hate to say it, because this is taking a different turn than the whole multiverse theory.
no, that's
but
okay. There's
it's
plenty
the-
of other theories.
This is a great example of how faulty human memories are, in the sense that, well, you can't even call them faulty. Those memories that people are having of it being E are real, but
Right.
what they're not realizing is that
They made them.
they made those memories. They've created those memories. And actually what they're thinking of, like right now when they're thinking of Berenstein, they're having a memory of a
them wanting
memory
it
of
to
a
be
memory of a memory, something that they've built upon and created a cascade of,
And I
of
don't,
some
I don't
original
find,
memory.
I don't find what you're saying faulty, but
No,
but
well, it's not
what you,
faulty
it's
because
not. But what you're
it's-
saying, what
That's the-
multiverse advocates would say, that's the reason that memory really is there, is because it now
Right.
is true, and you know,
Yeah.
like,
Which is cool. Which is a cool, weird
Which
concept.
I
but
kind of found myself.
do you?
I
do you-
hate to do this, but
Do you think that's?
I had to, a small part of me started to subscribe to multiverse and counterfactual thinking just to get myself through the day and not go crazy. And
Right.
it's stupid, because it's not like
I know what you
I'm not
mean.
going to sit
No.
there and be like, it was E, it was always E. That's not how I feel.
I mean, but
It's
it was
obviously A. But in our heads, we can't, I've never had anything else like this. You know, that's why it's weird.
I
is that,
remember.
like,
It's
know-
funny you.
I
I'm
have
gonna bring
plenty
up
of
another-
faulty memories. I'm bad with memories.
Yeah.
I admit I embellish in memories. I make them into sitcoms. I know I do it. So like
Echo.
I'm the wrong guy to be like the representative for this. But people say there's an A universe and an E universe, and somehow now we're all together in A.
Oh, no, it's over there.
Somehow the
here's a
universes
third-
merged at some
Yeah,
point
yeah.
in the future.
And it's not so much that they merged, it's that I was in E and you were in A, and now I'm in A with you. And like And do they have to merge for me to get there, or do I? Is that what you're saying?
Did it work?
Is that how it
wonder,
works?
is there an A? Are there A and E versions of both of us? And then
And now you never met me till apparently when you can't put a timeline on things like this, but apparently the year 2000 or 2001, you and me met the other A and E person for the first time, and we've never met the actual. Now well, whatever. It doesn't matter. Here's the third theory: that somebody went and time traveled back and fixed the Y2K problem that actually was wrong. That there was a disaster in Y2K, and they went and fixed it. And in order to make their mark, they just changed it. Isn't that that's the most fun?
One subtle
Yeah, that was their
change.
more. That's like the fun theory.
That's actually the most awesome theory.
That's the most awesome theory. Sorry about the dog noises, guys, but this is how this podcast is. But
Sorry, not sorry.
hashtag sorry, not sorry. Yeah, that's the most fun
Jeremy
theory
knows
because
it wasn't E.
it seemed at first when you hear it, you're like, if time travel was possible, it doesn't work like that. But then some people would argue that no, the faint memory of the E or the strong memory of the E can still be there, even if it now technically has never happened.
There's another going back to what I was saying about memories.
Yeah.
The little I was reading about this whole Berenstein thing is that there's a theory that people that have a more, there's different ways that people process their memories. Some people's memories are more, for lack of a better word, accurate visually than in an auditory way, and that a lot of the people that are more inclined to be stronger visual memory people are the ones that are the A people, and the people that are more auditory are the ones that are more E people, because Berenstein or any of the E versions of how it sounds just sounds better, so that's how they ended up learning it, so to speak, because they were thinking about more how people were pronouncing it. And I remember they had a cartoon or something on TV for a little bit.
Yeah.
They would just kind of pronounce it as Berenstain.
I know, it was right in between.
Yeah, they wouldn't emphasize the last syllable at all, really. And I think that's played a big role into why a lot of people are. There's a lot of divergent tracks.
You're probably right.
A's and E's. I know it totally made the whole conversation boring by dumbing it down.
No,
But
it's not
we
dumbing
should
it
know
down.
the
It's
right
not dumbing
name
it
though, because it was Mama Bear, Papa Bear, Brother Bear, Sister Bear, and then the new baby. None of them had any names. We should be able to remember one name.
Yeah. You're saying
know.
because the only thing distinctive in that whole family was the last name?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. But it's weird. It's like we're not making an argument that it is E. Again, let's not get pigeonholed into arguing whether it was A or E.
Right.
Let's it's more about my friend Brittany on Facebook said, hey, I have a vivid memory of thinking people were stupid for saying it wrong because it was Stain. She's like, I know it was an A. I was like, okay. But then I went and I asked all these people at my work, these guys coming back with box trucks, they didn't want to hear anything like this, man. They don't want this deep conversation.
Right.
And I forced it on them, and they all said E.
And they all probably read to their kids.
They were like, I'm not really familiar, but I know, I definitely, and I showed them the photo, and they were like, oh, of course, Berenstein Bears. And then they looked closer, and they were like, why does it say A? And I was like, I don't know. And they were like, that's not right. And I was like, I know. And these guys are salt of the earth more than any of us are, as far as hardworking. I'm not going to overanalyze anything.
Right.
Then they were like, that's not right. What's wrong with that? And I was like, I don't know. And they were like, it's
I like how you respond, I don't know.
Yeah, I let them go from there. I built up, and they gave me funny looks. No, I mean I didn't leave them with that, but they gave me weird looks while I was saying my case. I didn't lead with it should be E, by the way. I just asked them how they spell it and tried to be diplomatic about and they were like, well, I know that it was Steen. I was like, how do you spell the last part? They're like Stein, and I was like, check this out, and I showed them. And I was like, my mom got out her old books. They're A. It's all A. And they were like, no, it's not. And I was like, yes, it is. And they're like, it's not. And then they had the argument, like, about it. Like,
Right.
so, like, it's just a phenomenon, if there's no such thing as a parallel universe, or at least there's no such thing as us being able to experience two in one lifetime, and your theory is correct,
We've already
still,
experienced two.
this is a phenomenon because of the human memory. Like, even if all the things you're saying are only...
Humans are willing to
what else
create
has
a
happened?
parallel universe type theory rather than
Yeah.
just simply deal with the fact that their memories are fallible and
But my memory has never been followable in this way before.
it has. Oh, it has a lot of times.
But why hasn't it never given me this feeling?
You don't know. See, you're not going to be.
Would it have given me this same feeling if I did know?
Oh, sure. The
Do you
problem
think? Because
is,
I know I
the problem
found
is,
out
like,
a bunch of things like this.
the night. Really? But
Yeah.
have you really though? Like,
Yeah, my friend Nicole cuts my hair, and I saw her wearing this shirt, and I loved it. And I went home, and when I went home, I texted her 5 minutes after I saw her in the flesh, and I was like, "Where'd you get that orange shirt? It's awesome." And she was like, "It's blue," and I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Crap. What did I make in my mind?" And
You know what
then I dropped it.
You know
But
what
this
the
I can't
problem
let
is?
go.
I think it's the community effect because a whole bunch of people have shared this memory of the spelling of a book. Like obviously you're gonna have that one particular memory. No one else is ever gonna be. No one else is gonna have that one concrete memory that you were just talking about, right? But
Sure.
as far as
The community effect.
Berenstain books,
Yeah.
this is something that probably thousands or maybe millions, who knows?
I'm willing to
people have had
entertain
the
that.
faulty memory. So that's what's creating this weird eerie feeling is that you're able to share this particular faulty memory or whatever you want to call it with a whole bunch of people. I think that's what's instilling the strange feeling this time.
You might be right. It's hard to resist the feeling, because communally or not, what it feels like when I start to doubt it kind of has the same feeling as going to Walmart because the price is lower rather than supporting your local grocery.
I'm not sure I know
Like,
what you mean.
I guess what I mean is, like, I start to feel guilty when I lose faith in what I remember. And, like, and I'm not saying I want to sit there and know it was E, but I feel like what I'm doing is getting a commercial shoved down my throat over and over again until I only use that product because it's the only thing available to me.
Gotcha.
So like if I sit here and I'm like, every day since I found out about this phenomenon, I've come closer and closer to just being okay with it being A. And I feel the same way somebody feels if they numb themselves with something.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's and it's not about. Yeah, I know what you're saying. You're saying people are creating a parallel universe thing so they won't be wrong. I totally get that. But like,
I think.
but
no, I think
it feels like a different thing than that. It feels more like, am I going to be true to myself, or am I going to like be like, yeah, it probably was. You know, it's like when someone sees thinks they see a ghost, and then 10 years go by and you ask them again, and they're like, I mean, I probably was, you know, like whatever. You know what I mean? They just drop it.
I mean, thinking about faulty memories, you know, thinking about something as a concrete memory that's obviously in some form very faulty,
It's hard.
it's unsettling at your core.
Yeah.
Like anything that's unsettling at the core for people that they can't quite understand why it turned out that way. Just naturally, you think of like a supernatural supernatural explanation for it. I mean, that's what it is.
But are you doing the same thing in your theory?
What do you mean?
Like, you're like a guy of science, a man of science. So I'm surprised sometimes because
a gentleman.
a gentleman of the scientific arts or whatever scientific. And my brother
Works at Harry Potter World.
my brother Jack also is a very scientifically minded person, and so when I talk to him about Stephen Hawking and multiverse, I do not expect the reaction you and him have given me. And you guys are completely like, you treat it like it's sorcery. And I always thought like, oh, they'd like that. You know, like...
I see. I see because it's... I got you. Okay.
Yeah,
now I see.
I don't...
Now I see like your ego. Now, okay, now I'm getting your perspective. Now I'm getting a perspective.
I was
as to
surprised.
What you were expecting from it. Yeah.
I didn't expect you to agree wholeheartedly, but I like Jack took it to the realm of otherworldly as well. Not otherworldly in parallel universe, but otherworldly in like magic. When I said that too, and I think I remember when he was younger, Stephen Hawking was science to him, and now when I mention multiverse, and yes, it's a theory. So I'm not saying he should be like, yeah, you're right, that guy's totally right. But like, I don't expect it to be taken into the realm of like hippy-dippy, you know?
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to get anybody to say that, yeah, parallel universes occur, but there was a time in the not so recent past when people looked at like the theory of actually traveling in a time machine as stupid. And they still do. But then when that multiverse theory came along, they were like, wow, I can actually put something to this idea for once. But has that ship sailed?
No.
Is that like silly?
I think no, I'm kind of familiar with some of the parallel universe stuff.
Do you think
Hawking.
it's stupid?
I don't think it's applying. I think it's applying. I think this is just a weird. I wouldn't have applied that sort of theory.
Okay. What would you apply that to? Like, do you believe
only
that?
In the pure abstract sense that.
Do you believe it's possible?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But just in a. I don't think it could be much more defined other than that it is possible. I wouldn't be able to apply it to any.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't want to ever say. I obviously don't even have the tools in my vocabulary to express how I think A universe and E universe work.
Yeah.
Like, but I'd like to think that if that really happened in me and Ellen's life, that there's only one way through figuring that out, and it's something in that realm. Like, but like, but again, like, that's only because that's the only thing that has any logistics to me at all, and it's only a theory that I can't like express any more than I did. Like, no other door leads to what I want to try to figure out than those theories. You know, like I will never think that like somebody went and changed it as a prank, and I'll never think that like, oh, that I'm right and A is wrong. The only way I can think of them both existing at the same time is applying the fact that hypothetical situations somehow, because they are that in our head, are real somewhere. You know what I mean? And like,
right.
But that's as far as I get. I can't get any farther than that. So I guess, I don't know. What do you think your mom meant when she said parallel universes are real, Ellen?
Exactly what she said, they're real.
And why do you think she said that?
I don't know. She just believes in like all that supernatural stuff and watches like all those shows and reads like a bunch of sci-fi books and
so
stuff.
To you, in your head, is the multiverse akin to something that's supernatural?
Yeah.
Because I was saying that to Craig, it doesn't seem to be the case with him so much.
I don't think of it in like supernatural.
Right, but I think you see how it could slip into that.
If it exists, it's not by definition
No, but you associate the same personality and believing in that may exaggerate multiverse theory into what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where you're at, Ellen. So let's talk about. There was some guy tried to prove, and this doesn't really prove anything, but he went on a website and he found that like it was E on this website archived forever, and then it changed in 2001 to A, and then it never changed back, obviously. And he was like, this is the only thing I have that's like close to proof, and it's not. And he was, in his voice, he was just like trying so hard to like figure it out. He was just so confused and like upset, you know? I think that's where me and Ellen are. We're just so confused.
Like, I'm not upset about it. Like, I just feel like I remember in my memory that it was an E. So, like, I'm just like, But I was totally accepting when my sister was like, no, it's A. I was like, all right.
I've had moments like that too, where like I feel like I saw it and I was like, oh, it's A. So maybe Craig's right.
Talking about like any of like the real stuff about like some of their books like didn't really have like good moral lessons.
That's what I
and,
wanted
like,
to get into next.
Actual content or like, case of the gimmies. The gimmies is not even a word. How do they sell so many books?
Yeah.
Maybe this whole thing of the E, the A is just a gimmick to sell books because kids are just playing video games and on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, I'm
They're
with
like,
you.
we'll get them. We'll get all these people to pull out these old books and buy new books.
I'm not somebody who is at all known for being politically correct. I'm not somebody who thinks that you have to walk on eggshells around too many people, especially considering the content that we've had in this podcast in the past and in our bullskit stuff and everything. But like those stories, they're just full to the brim, even if you tread really lightly and try to be diplomatic when you look at it. They're full to the brim of like, don't tell Mother Bear, Papa and Son will go and do this. And, you know, they're full of like you say, bad lessons. They're full of like, they're not quite right. Even in the realm of like silly, fun kids.
There's some water right here.
They're, I agree, Ellen, they're bad. They're not good books. I don't think I ever thought they were good once I hit a certain age.
Strange familial stereotypes and stuff. I honestly,
And I'm not
don't
saying they're
remember
offensive.
Any of
And
the
there's like
stories
so
or the
many
content.
repeats too.
Yeah. They're all about like, did you learn your lesson? You went at a farmer something, and you Farmer Ben's thing, and we won't. You know, at the end of that, they didn't tell the mom.
Or is it ban?
I don't know. See, that's what's in. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. Actually, Ellen, our friend Carmen, she hashtag Team Berenstein with an E, and I commented under her thing on Facebook, and I said Team Edward, and then I edited it and put Team Adward. So stupid. Farmer Ban. Yeah, see, that's how me and Ellen get our...
Farmer ban these books because they're terrible.
I agree. They were not good books. Like,
I literally
you don't remember them. You don't remember. Yeah.
I don't remember anything about the stories. The only thing I remember, my only memory of them, is realizing that Stan and Jan's last name was Berenstain. Like, that's their last name. And realizing that was the last name of the Bears, too. And...
That's because there was nothing to get out of the books.
Yeah, I guess that's why. I can
assure you.
The people named the books, named the Bears after themselves. Cool. That's all I remember.
Well,
I don't remember.
That says a lot, man.
I think it's just the Jewish media.
Yeah, well, I can say one thing for sure, and that's that, like, I'm not offended by the books. Don't get me wrong, listeners. It's just that, like, they did not have substance, man. Like, most kids' books had substance. Most kids' books were good. Harold and the Purple Crayon, that's a good book.
I didn't even remember that.
You don't remember Harold?
No.
Huh.
You don't remember the Purple Crayon?
Do you remember the Purple Crayon?
I
It's the same thing.
remember I used a purple crayon on
He
occasion.
drew things and he like climbed up them or like in them or...
No.
That was a really good one. What was your like nearest and dearest as a kid? Did you like books like the kids' books like that?
Where the wild
Like
things
a
are.
favorite or?
I don't remember.
Roald Dahl.
I didn't like
All of
picture
Roald Dahl,
books as a kid that much.
I think we have the wrong person to be our grounded common sense guy. He doesn't even remember the book, and he's telling us it's an A. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
I don't remember. I don't have like a big memory of children's books and what I read and the images and stuff. I don't know.
Obviously, you don't remember the E. I'm just kidding.
So much.
No, man.
I don't know. And I know I had.
I mean, Dr.
I had
Seuss.
them.
Did you like Dr. Seuss?
Yeah, but I couldn't really tell you. Like I know I had like Green Eggs and Ham. Like I know I had that book, but I couldn't. I have no recollection of like any of the images of the book.
Maybe I guess I guessed wrong with you because you're an avid reader now, so I just assumed like you started with lots of picture kids books too. But are you trying to tell me that like when you were 5 you were reading Game of Thrones?
No.
Is that what's going on? Is that why you're like so smart?
In the
no,
parallel
no.
universe, he was watching Game of Thrones when he was 5.
Yeah. And game spelled G-A-M-A. No, sorry. Last joke like that.
I know I was reading stuff. I mean, I'm sure I was reading stuff earlier than maybe a lot of other kids my age, but I'm sure. No,
Yeah, you were a fast
I-
reader when you were young.
Yeah, but I still had like picture books and crap. I think though when I was that little, I was just more big on like playing with. I wasn't big on like reading picture books. I was just big on like playing with toys and making up my own stories and stuff. Mm-hmm. We're actually playing with different objects. Mm-hmm. I remember more of that, but again, I'm fully ready to admit, based on the fact that our memories are complete shit when it comes down to
Yeah,
it.
you definitely have a good
spent
point.
A crap load of time reading picture books. Had the kid, which would probably be what my mom would say. She would probably, if you
Scold
interviewed
you.
her now, she'd be like, "Oh, he loved this, and that." And remember when you used to read this picture book over and over and over again? And I'd be like, no, I don't remember, but I'm sure that's the case.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it happened in this universe too.
If we're even in this. I mean, for now. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm not kidding. I'm sorry. That's the main point. I have to say it's not at all about the ENA at a certain point.
It's so weird that people. I'm befuddled by people who've gotten.
Well, this is what it's about. Don't worry about it. If this is a catalyst, I see why you're like kind of like disapproving of this being the catalyst.
No,
But,
no, I'm not disapproving. No. I find it weird. I don't find it weird that the whole multiverse theory angle you're taking, that is kind of interesting and cool. I find it weird that this happened to be the particular linchpin.
Oh,
that
me
launched
too,
that
man.
conversation.
That's
How
why
the hell did that happen?
I don't know. That's what's weird.
I guess that's just the organic nature of social media.
I guess, but
Yeah,
this has
I
not
guess.
happened before. So how's this the nature of social media?
Well, I mean, that's
like
how a lot of different
Yeah,
topics
yeah.
of discussion are created organically on social media that somehow blow up.
you're just talking about the blow up in general.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Was the
But
dress white and gold, or was it blue and
Yeah.
whatever color?
my friend Peppy called me the other night because of you and my messages. He called me and he was like, "Hey, man." I was like, "Hey, what's wrong, man?" And he was like, "Nothing. How are you?" And I was like, "Good." And he was like,
really? That
Yeah.
kind of freaked him out.
Yeah, he was just a little worried. And I was like, "Oh, don't worry." I was like, I was pretty vague. I was like, and Craig knew what I was talking about, so it never got
Yeah.
explained. And I was like, I explained to him what happened, and he was still like, "Dude, is it cool?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, I just found myself a lot more open to certain scientific theories now because of this whole thing. And I was like, don't get me wrong, it's not because I want to prove anything about ENA. It's that the human memory is so weird that it makes you like want to open up to these other things and figure things out about yourself. It's not about the ENA. It's about figuring out like why the human memory does what it does. And why, and the thing that I can subscribe to now, that I can say I have learned and that I like kind of believe now, is that the power of hypothetical situations is bigger than I ever knew it was. You know, and like that leads me to dip my toe into counterfactual thinking. And like that leads me to almost take a scientific approach to like what time is and what memory really is. That's all it really did for me. So it probably opened me up and made me, once I get over this crap, a better person. Like as far as like being more, just educated and maybe more open to more theories. But like rest assured, like it's not about the letter anymore. It's just about like what human consciousness can do collectively and like what that means and what power it wields and stuff. And like I think when Pep called me, he was scared because I wasn't making sense to him.
Yeah, right.
No, you
know?
scared me too, because you
Yeah.
asked me about it like immediately when you walked in the door from work, and you were like just like talking like real like philosophical. I was
Yeah,
like,
it scared me.
just like calm down a minute. What are you talking about? Like,
I'm just picturing what your face probably.
but it was seriously like he was not even like in the doorway, and he was like, and I was like, what? Like, you need to slow down.
It's totally alarming, and Peppy probably had the right to be worried.
I think, you know what, I might have been too, but I had just...
You knew what I meant.
I knew what you were talking about, because I had
Peppy
seen it
was like...
already.
And it was funny, because hearing Peppy, like, get it all into focus was really funny, because I was like, oh no, it's kind of this internet craze that's kind of a little cult thing right now, where people are like, throwing these theories out. I was like, it's kind of supposed to be fun, like the dress. It's supposed to be like X-Files-y, like, whoa, you know? I was like, it sounds a lot more serious than it really is. I was like, it's more fun just to, like, speculate. And he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, why don't you and Corey know about this? It was like, the dress thing was like,
Yeah, they
you know, and he was like, oh, he's like, that's why Craig responded to you so quick. And I was like, yeah. He was like, because Craig always knows that kind of stuff. And I was like, I know.
Yeah,
I'm like, and then later, Corey, I've been texting Corey all day, and I texted him way jumped the gun. I didn't explain myself at all. I was like, I remember it being EIN. What do you remember? That was like my first text. I didn't like explain because I thought he knew. Like right. All I did to you is I was like, E universe, and you were like, no, A universe.
It's been A the whole
time. And that's all we said to each other. And it was totally creepy to anybody on the outside in this group message. But then Corey sent me a text later after he had been filled in on it and went down the rabbit hole himself. And he was like, oh, hey, man. He's like, apparently Peppy and I live in an alternate universe where we're not up on the latest internet buzz. So it was really funny because he was like, we're apparently going through a phase of being in this other universe for a while.
I forget what my post was going to be exactly. I was going to say something about, where do you hear about my U theory, guys?
Yeah,
Just
I know.
wait.
I know.
But then it's like, nah.
I like that you're the more grounded voice in this podcast, because we need that, and it actually makes me feel better. The only thing it doesn't make me feel good about is that I have that weird like sinking feeling, like I'm being like I had something and now it's being medicated out of me. You know what I mean? Like
the medication of reality.
Yeah, and I hope that's true. I really do, and it is true. But I just can't stand how strong that memory is. It's just wigging me out.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I was gonna tell the story of this vivid memory that I had for years about something that my grandma had said to me about. She was making fun of my grandpa and called him a name or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I had a vivid memory of it, and it actually happened. Mm-hmm. But my memory of her saying it was, we were sitting, on her patio on the back porch, and such one of the most vivid memories ever. A vivid memory of what she's wearing, what my grandpa's wearing in the background, my mom sitting off just to the side in the back, and knew word for word what she'd said. And then when, maybe it was a year or two ago, we had a tape of all these home videos and stuff that we had recorded.
Oh, and it was on there, huh?
From a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I had them all digitized.
Right.
And I was pulling through the old digital tapes, and then there's one point where my grandma's in some location inside the house, and it's just her, nobody else is around. And she says that line that I have the vivid memory of. And she says it exactly how I have it in the memory. And then I realized, oh shit, I have, what I'm remembering is me watching that tape of her saying the line. Mm-hmm. And not only was I watching, I knew for sure I was watching that tape, because not only did I see her utter that line in that scene, but then in one of the following scenes, maybe 10 minutes later, she's sitting out on the deck with my grandpa and mom in the background. I've combined multiple memories of me watching, this tape. I'm sure my memories are of watching this on tape, and I combined that into one memory that I had for a decade after that. Mm-hmm. And the memories I formed weren't even original memories. They were memories of me watching some tape.
I've done that plenty of times, man. Like, that's normal. This is probably that. This is probably that.
Yes, but it was like disappointing for a moment, but then I just kind of realized, like, yeah, that's how human memories are. But then I was like, but it doesn't even really I didn't have quite the same numbing effect like what you were
When you
talking
figure
about.
it
I was
out,
just like,
yeah.
it doesn't even really.
It
doesn't matter.
That's the only thing that's new to me, is that like I've had plenty of times where I've taken other people's
Jeremy.
experience. You okay, Jeremy? I've taken other people's experiences and I made them my own. You ever do that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of describe that now, but you know what I mean. Like, I have friends that do that too. Like, somebody told them they had a dream, and then they later tell them they had that dream. That I had the dream, you had no. And like, it's so vivid, the story told, just auditory. That's where my weakness is. Like you said, I'm an auditory memory person.
Right.
And so that was like nail on the head when you said that. But like, I never had that numbing feeling when I was said to be corrected till now in my life. That's what's turning the corner for me. That's why I had to look that stuff up.
That'd be really interesting to try to figure out why you might be having the numbers.
Yeah, I don't need to be right about this. I don't want to be right about this. I'm not right about it. But why do I feel that way?
I would still really think that it has to do with the
communal,
it's being amplified into the community effect.
I hope you're right.
A whole bunch of people share it. That would
I
be
hope you're
my
right,
guess.
because that's the new element in this. Otherwise, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you're right, because I don't.
I would wonder if you just happened to just be walking through. You were at one of your niece's house or something, and they had the Berenstein book, and you picked it up, and you just glanced at the name and said, "Oh, I always thought that was EIN, but it's AIN. Huh? That's weird." I would be willing to guess you just have that moment like you would normally have, and then there's other moments like I was just sharing with. It's like, "Oh, I always remembered it as
that it wouldn't be a big
but
deal.
it's actually A, huh?" And you would have just moved on.
Yeah, it's weird.
Do you know who we haven't blamed yet? Obama.
Fuck Obama. Oh, I'm sorry. We always said we would not get political, but I just want to say one thing though. Thanks, Obama.
All right. I am.
It's Obama.
I am so ready for bed.
It's Obama.
It's Obama.
I am so ready for bed.
Obama.
I came back to say goodnight to Craig, and he was like, "How do you open the back door?" And then I get sucked into this whole universe out here in the backyard.
Are you going to bed?
I was going to go to bed.
In a different timeline, she was going to bed. In a timeline, whatever.
Well, all I know is the cooler E version of Ellen would be hanging out with us all night.
Yeah, actually.
We're stuck in the A1.
You know what the actual permanent repercussion of this whole Berenstain thing is?
What?
Me and Ellen making jokes to each other the rest of our living days about how I did the dishes in the other universe.
Oh boy.
Like, that's our thing now, right? You and me made 8 jokes like that night. We were like, well, I did the dishes in the parallel universe.
I was giving you a perplexed look right now, so I'm thinking this might not be a thing.
Yeah, and you made jokes to Corey about how
This might be
sexy you were the same amount of sexy in the other universe.
See, she does get it, but she's just bad at expressing it.
This might
She
be
made
a
the dish
one-sided
joke.
thing.
I didn't even make it. Can you reassure Craig, please?
What?
I said you made the dish joke. I didn't even make that
I
joke.
did make the dish joke.
See, she's just not good at facial expressions.
Like I said earlier, I was coming back to say goodnight to Craig and give him some guy time with Lee. Then I got sucked into being in a podcast.
Which will air in the spring of 2017.
Now, this one will actually air currently, so we can stay on top of it before it pretty much dies. It'll die.
Yeah, this is pretty topical.
Yeah, it's topical now, but I feel like in one more week, people will shut down their pages and blogs and stuff, and it'll be over. Not because they'll admit they're wrong, but it just won't be a thing anymore. Or it won't be a.
Oh, it'll be a thing. That dress thing is still a thing.
Yeah, I guess so.
So you probably thought I was going to jump down the multiverse rabbit hole.
No, I didn't. I didn't think
was
that. I just didn't think
no,
you would.
Faulty dreams, man. We're just all fucked up in the head and don't know what we're talking
No,
about.
I knew you were going to say that. I just thought that multiverse would seem more concrete to you because it's a theory that's been around long. That's all. But I don't know what I thought. Yeah. I mean, I think it's.
I don't think
makes sense.
As far as the multiverse theory goes with Hawking, he wouldn't say that there's necessarily.
No, he wouldn't go as far as that other guy that went to the hypotheticals.
He doesn't express a multiverse as parallel universes where there's different versions of us.
Right.
A multiverse is more like different universes that are all going to be unique. In a sense, there's sort of an infinite possibilities of multiverses, but he doesn't use it, which kind of implies that there might be, a universe that's everything exactly the same except one little small thing has changed, like an E or an A in somebody's name. But
I can't believe you caved, man. I can't believe... Right, like with Ross and Phoebe on Friends, she gets him to admit that evolution, possibly, there's a slight possibility it might not be true. And then she's like, Ross, I can't believe you caved. Like, just now you were like, yeah, maybe that means that there could maybe be a universe where it's E.
Well, I'm
Good night.
willing to
All
develop.
right. Say, look, Mom, I'm on a podcast. Say, look, Mom, we're on a podcast.
Look, Mom, we're on a podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But go on with your thing. What were you going to say?
Oh, you were going to end.
No, I just wanted her to say because she's going to bed.
I don't know. What the hell was that?
Yeah, I was hoping this wouldn't be forever.
What was that saying?
You were saying...
just that. So, technically his definition would allow for what you're talking about, but that's not really... He's not using it in that way.
Craig just admitted he was wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm conceding that. I'm not.
I know. It's not right or wrong anyway. I'm just kidding. I'm not. I would
I
never
don't even know
look
what
at
I'm
it.
saying. I went down my own rabbit hole there. Now I don't know what. I don't know what my.
I
got
just
lost.
undid you and made you just go into something you didn't want to go into. No. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. And
Mom, Mom, I know you don't listen to podcasts, but I think you should listen to this one because it's really cool.
oh yeah, we pretty much draw out a perfect diagram of scientific understanding and theory.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, it's very educational.
Stephen Hawking, we're on a podcast.
Look, Stephen Hawking, we're on a podcast.
Okay, you ready to hit record?
Yeah, ready? 1, 2, and...
Hi there, this is Zoe Nightingale, and you're listening to Nursery, a podcast from Ohio's Creative Voice.